Week 1 is said and done. It is in the books. It's time to look ahead to week 2. But before we do, big shout out to DMAC over on holidays in Singapore right now on Universal Studios today, going on all the rides over there, but missing out on the ride that has been the NBA in week 1. He'll be back on deck for Fantasy in 5 this week. But he did contribute to the team awards of the week. And each and every single week, big shout out to 2 players, our number 1 player of the week and our waiver of the week. And winning our player of the week this week was someone who obviously does huge things all the time. But this week, on the percentage he uses, he was doing this, was why he is the number 1 player in fantasy right now. It's always between him and Jokic. And Jokic, after the abysmal 3-point shooting to start the season, his percentages were in the trash. They've only had 2 games. The Nuggets got back on track, not highly impactful on the offensive end, but getting the rebounds and assists today. But someone who's been just impactful off the jump has been Victor Wembanyama. As you can see, 34.5 points a game, plus 600 from the field. That efficiency is absolutely huge. And he's not stepping out behind the 3-point line, getting it done inside, which we love to see. The assists are down for him. The steals there at 1, but the 6 blocks is what we expect from Victor Wembanyama. Currently, the number 1 player in fantasy and the Fantasy in 5 player of the week. The other one, it's the waiver of the week, the player that has stood out as being the waiver ad over the course of the week. We called this guy out on last week's show as someone we wanted to add as a streamer. He was one of our top ads on the waivers show. Make sure you check that out. And this week's waivers for week 2, who knows if you're going to get the gold like this guy. Kaishan George, you can see him put into Cooper Flag right there. 27.5 points he's averaged through the week. 600 from the field. The free throw percentages could come up, but the 10 rebounds we love. But those 4 stocks, 1.5 steals, and 2.5 blocks make Keyshawn George, I should say, your waiver player of the week. It is time for week 2. It is time to look at the schedule and look, it's what's coming your way. Monday on the schedule is jam-packed. 11 games to kick it off. We have 2 on Tuesday. We have 5 on Tuesday, 10 Wednesday, 4 Thursday, 8 Friday, 6 Saturday, and 8 on Sunday. So here you can see immediately that the Monday and the Wednesday are higher volume game days. So we could look to target the Tuesday, Thursday, and either the Friday and Saturday in a back-to-back, or Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday to see if there is any teams that do that. And you absolutely can. Now, there is only one team in the NBA that plays 2 games this week, and that is the Los Angeles Clippers. They only play 2 games. The rest of them play either 4 or 3, so there's no big 5-game advantage week. But for 4, we've got the Hawks, the Celtics, the Hornets, the Bulls, the Cavs, the Warriors, the Lakers, the Grizz, the Pels, the Thunder, Magic, 76ers, Suns, Raptors, and the Utah Jazz. The 3 gamers, everyone else but the 4s and obviously the Clippers. That's the Nets, the Mavs, the Nuggets, the Pistons, the Rockets, the Pacers, Heat, Bucks, T-Wolves, Knicks, Trailblazers, Kings, Spurs, and the Washington Wizards. Now, we spoke about the back-to-back sets just a minute ago, but also last week, we noted the back-to-backs on Sunday into Monday and what juice we could get there. This is one of the ones we want to look at here. We've got the Celtics, the Nets, the Mavs, the Cavs, the Pistons, the Lakers, the Timberwolves, the Trailblazers, the Spurs, and the Raptors. Now, for some reason, if you have a roster availability on that 11-game day, you can bring one of these guys in to help you win your week. So you can bring in a Celtic or a Mav or a Trailblazer. Bring someone in there to help you win your week and set you up for a game on the Monday that you didn't previously have. That's a really good strategy. However, there is a way to play this schedule very early on where you can get max games with only 1 ad to start your week. And it's a bit of a fantasy darling of ours right now. It's the Charlotte Hornets. They've got a very favorable schedule to start off the season, and they've actually been able to, you can do this right now. You can get 6 games in 2 moves. So you can get 2 moves of your waiver weeks, and only one of them is a move in next week. So if you have max moves, so let's say 5 is the max acquisitions you can get in a league a week, and you've got one available in week 1, you use it. You use it for the last game of Sunday, the first game of Monday. Then if you do this, you can actually pick up a Charlotte Hornet Thursday through Sunday with only one move. You get 3 games out of a Celtic, a Net, a Cav, a Mav, a Piston, a Laker, a Timberwolf, a Trailblazer, and a Raptor. So for minimal moves, you can pick up 3 games from them, Sunday and early this week. And then you can pick up 3 games from the Charlotte Hornets players at the back end of the week as well. That's 1 move next week for a Hornet and 1 move now that gets you a game on Sunday and 2 games at the beginning of the week to help lock that in. Even if it is on that Monday, that heavy day, if you're locking that in and you're dropping off your worst player you really wouldn't use anyway, this is where that really becomes a benefit. There is a benefit though if you are blocked up and you have like a player that's really bad and they're not playing on that Monday, or they are playing on that Monday but you just want to use them. You can target the Sunday and Tuesday and see that as like a back-to-back set almost this coming week. And there you've got the Hornets again, like I said, the Clips, the Heat, the Bucks, the Knicks, the Kings, or the Wizards. Traditional back-to-back sets do apply on Monday and Tuesday for the Warriors. Again, starting off the week strong. We know Al Horford won't play in one of those 2 games. The Oklahoma City Thunder and the Philadelphia 76ers. We pick up again on Tuesday and Wednesday with more back-to-backs for the Kings, the Magic, and the Hornets. It's the Saturday and Sunday for the Charlotte Hornets there again next week. And to finish off the week really strong, and to start the following Monday strong into week 3, we can bring in any Net, Laker, Grizz, Heat, Knicks, or Jazz players. These are the guys that we can get into that back-to-back set to start the week out, and some of our top targets to finish off the week. With that said, though, there has been some movements and there has been a lot of injury news. So let's have a look at our injury ads and details. Across the week, the Zachary Ricochet has missed the last 2 games with an ankle sprain, and Kristaps has missed the last 2 games as well for the Atlanta Hawks as well. That means he has played 1 in 3 games, and our worst fears are true. This one's just a sickness, but hopefully he will be back this week. Jalen Johnson also missed Saturday's game as well versus the Thunder. Now, it's interesting, popping up on the injury report for the Boston Celtics has been Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown has an issue there with he's questionable. There's a hamstring and a concussion protocols, respectively. But then there was a hairline issue with Jaylen Brown, which was a bit funny to read about today. In Brooklyn, Wolf and Drake are out, whereas in Charlotte, Brandon Miller left Saturday's game with a sore shoulder and didn't return. We are after some more details on him to see the return of Brandon Miller. Con Knipple getting an absolute bump here in the meantime. Good news for the Cleveland fans. DeAndre Hunter is questionable for Sunday's matchup. They have a good schedule this week. Maybe he plays back-to-backs. Let's have a look to bring DeAndre Hunter around because he hasn't played, and people have dropped him off at the car park. And Darius Garland could return early November, which means this is the last week you're probably going to have to put up with Darius Garland in your IR spot, returning him the week afterwards. In Detroit, Karis LeVert's doubtful for Sunday's game, and Sasa is doubtful as well. Golden State, Al Horford missed the previous and the back-to-back set. We know they have an early back-to-back set to start the week, so probably just put Big Al to the side and use him in games we don't have to worry about him playing the back-to-back sets. Benedict Mathurin left the Saturday's game. I've already said Ben Shepherd was an ad here. We've got Jarris Walker on the list, and we'll get to some more of those guys from Indiana later in the show. With Andrew Nembhard being out, he doesn't have a timetable to return, so this is where Shepherd especially is getting that bump right now. Bradley Beal is questioned for the Clippers, but he has been a drop in most leagues anyway. Luka is questionable for Sunday's game against the Kings with a finger sprain or with a sprained finger. Let's look to see what comes of that on the injury report. Austin Reeves obviously getting a massive bump if that's the case there. In Milwaukee, Kyle Kuzma is questionable. He has a sprained ankle. Kevin Porter Jr. is also going to miss that in-game as well with the ankle injury, where Ryan Rollins was being the ad of the week here. In Minnesota, Rob Dillingham is questionable with a nasal issue, whereas in New Orleans, big men in the middle, Yves Missi and Makovic, they've missed with ankle and back injuries. Derek Queen was the great pickup there, even though they did roll a smaller 5 with Sadiq Bey playing in the middle there. Now, Mitch Robinson is going to miss Sunday's game for the New York Knicks, but looks to be returning this week. Karl Anthony Towns and Miles McBride are also questionable. Now, McBride has a family matter. He is a waiver wire stream. He started the last game as well. I think he can get some more minutes this year. So if he gets dropped and doesn't play, look to pick him up on our rosters with the Knicks schedule later in the week. In OKC, Jalen Williams is still out. Cason Wallace returned. Alex Caruso was missed the last 2 games with concussion protocols and looks to be returning this coming week. Jalen Suggs missed Saturday's game against the Bulls with injury management, playing really well to start the season there. Where in Philadelphia, we've got a little bit of shenanigans going on. Joel Embiid came back. Barlow left Saturday's game with a lacerated elbow. Look, Bono has been the ad for the middle right there. Kelly Oubre rolling off the bench, but also Quentin Grimes getting some minutes to start as well. Now, in Phoenix, back-to-back sets are not a thing for Mark Williams, and he didn't play of that rest in that one there. Iguodala has been starting, but not doing well, with Nick Richards getting a little bit of burn off the bench as well. Nothing really to speak about too much in the Portland situation, whereas Zach LaVine is questionable Sunday versus the Lakers, and Nick Crawford has going to be evaluated in a week, but not really fantasy impactful. Someone who is fantasy impactful over in San Antonio has been Luke Cornett. Big fella's been playing well. Average game and then a good game. He missed that previous one with a sprained ankle. Look to bring him back into our lineups, especially if Victor Wembanyama is ever down. He is the guy that we want to be putting on our radar. And that wraps up our injury report. Let's take a look at the waiver targets of the week. Look, we can get a whole bunch of juice this week, but myself and the team put together this list of our top ads of week 2. Over in Charlotte, because of their fantasy-friendly schedule, we've got Colin Sexton and Con Knippel, as I said, getting that big bump if Brandon Miller is going to miss additional time. Diabate and Kalkbrenner, with Kalkbrenner being preferred there. And if LaMelo Ball does miss that Sunday game or any of the games ahead with back-to-back schedule for any issues there, we're looking to bring Man in as our microwave scorer. On some waiver wires in Sacramento, you can pick up Malik Monk. Look for him, especially in shallow leagues in 10-teamers or 12-teamers, where he might just be sitting there for you. Grayson Allen and Dylan Brooks in Phoenix. Trey Jones, Ayo Dosunmu also getting some, but Patrick Williams as well for the Bulls, also worth a bit of a shout as well. Cater for Boston, Buddy Hield for the Golden State Warriors. Quentin Grimes playing really well off the bench today for the Philadelphia 76ers. We like him in the outlook ahead. And Gary Trent Jr. and Kyle Kuzma in the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, I said at the beginning of the show that you can get some value on the Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday to target those low volume days. Now, that tickles the fancy because you are a little bit loaded up on that Monday and the Wednesday already, and you want to get the best value out of it. Look to bring in Rollins, Anthony, Kuzma, or Trent Jr. for the Milwaukee Bucks, Buddy Hield, Moses Moody, Pods, or Quentin Post for the Golden State Warriors. And if you feel a little bit frisky, the Washington Wizards also have the same schedule. Chris Middleton, Cam Whitmore, Trey Johnson, and Bub Carrington also available in wires and worth a bit of a shout for some action there for your streams. If you're looking to target particular things in the week ahead, let's have a look through some of our top point scorers. We've got Colin Sexton, Chris Middleton, who we mentioned, Buddy Hield, Aaron Naismith, especially if Benedict Mathurin is going to be missing time. DeAndre Hunter, welcome back. He is questionable. That's why he's got the 2 asterisks. If he does play, though, we're going to get 3s off these guys as well. And the asterisk also denotes that these guys are contributing to us in that 3-point category. Kelly Oubre Jr., Jeremy Grant, Bryce Sensabaugh, Quentin Grimes, and AJ Mitchell has been playing incredibly well for the OKC Thunder. 3-point streamers. We've got Ruby Hachimura. Miles McBride, like I said, questionable on Sunday. Let's look to see what happens there. Good for points and actually has got a decent role as a starter here. Duncan Robinson, stinking first game. Gates, great second game for him. Sam Howes, especially if Jaylen Brown is out. Kevin Huerter, Trey Johnson, Gary Trent Jr., Merrill for the Cleveland Cavaliers, Sadiq Bey in New Orleans, and Grady Dick with the Toronto Raptors with their schedules ahead for this week. For assists, we're looking to get into Chris Paul action. Ben Shepherd over in Indiana, Trey Jones in Chicago, Dosunmu, Davion Mitchell, Gabe Vincent, Ryan Rollins making another appearance on this list, and Cole Anthony as well being our top distributors to bring in and focus on. If you're looking for the men in the middle, our rebound streamers, Cater, we've got Big Quesadilla there. We've got Bobby Portis, average first game, better second game, has been dropped off, can be better. Mitch Robinson, yet to play. If he gets the call in this week, look to bring him in. Wendell Carter Jr., Gogo Vidadse as well in Orlando. Jock Landau, a great ad for Memphis, getting minutes there and getting rebounds on the board. PJ Washington in Dallas, Derek Queen, especially with the absences of Matt Kovic and Yves Messi, and Valanciunas doing really good off the bench in Denver. If you're looking to track down some blocks, Chris Boucher, Missy, if he does return this week, Badadze, Brooke Lopez, Cornette, if he is returning from injury, Hanson Yang could get you some there, and Igadaru getting the starters minutes there in Phoenix as some of the block streamers that we can look to focus in on. And if you love your thieves and you need some steals to win your week, Matisse Thybulle and Dunn over in the Clippers, Matisse Thybulle for the Portland Trailblazers, Najee Marshall in Dallas, Jeremiah Fears, he gets you steals, points, and a few shots up on excellent free throw percentage for the New Orleans Pelicans. Caruso returning this week, hopefully from that concussion protocol towards the end of the week. Lonzo Ball, KCP in Memphis, and Drew Smith has been a two-way beast for the Miami Heat. Looking good on both ends. It's good to see Drew Smith getting a little bit of love back in the NBA. A big shout out, like and subscribe to all things fantasy and vibe. Make sure you check out the short form content we've got coming for you each and every single day this week. We also do 30+ waiver wire streams. Take care, be well. Let's go get those wins.